Minimalistic jewelry क्या चीज़ है and how is it shaping the future?
Well, minimalistic jewelry की जो concept है, that is about what you can wear in your daily usage. Like you can wear that jewelry and go to work. You can go to like smaller party. You don't want to wear something which is heavy all the time.
अगर किसको gemstones खरीदने हैं अपने jewelry में, how can they assess the quality in that and the value in it?
I would suggest it is always better to go for gemstones which are certified.
A common mistake by a jewelry consumer before they enter the store or after coming to the store.
जो भी ज्वेलरी आप खरीदते हैं, अगर आप गुड ज्वेलरी खरीदना है उसके ऊपर हॉल मार्किंग को वेरीफाई कीजिए. BAS ने तो इतनी अच्छी ऐप बनाई है, यू कैन जस्ट वेरीफाई एवरीथिंग व्हाटएवर यू आर बाइंग. एंड देन इफ यू आर बाइंग डायमंड ज्वेलरी यू शुड वेरीफाई दैट एज वेल.
Jewelry perspective playing a role in ancient India and North. How is it so rich in culture of jewelry for men?
So it's been there because that was the only way the Raja Maharajas could show off how wealthy they are. Like if you go back and see the Nizam of Hyderabad, he was one of the biggest lover for jewelry.
Welcome to Jewellery Insider with Shan Chawla. Today I have another industry expert with us, Mr. Gaurav Bawa from Bawa Jewelers, a third generation jeweler and also a jewelry consultant. I have a lot of questions on the table for him. How are you feeling, Gaurav?
It's really amazing to be here with you, and I'm really delighted to be here
If
and,
you
and
can-
speak with you.
Yes, that's amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Can you give the viewers a brief about yourself and how are you an industry expert?
Well, I've been a jewelry retailer myself. I'm the third generation in this trade, and in fact, it's been over 32 years. I've been there in jewelry retail. I have been running a successful jewelry business by myself, and in fact, from past almost 5-6 years, I started consulting other jewelers as well. I started helping them out, and in fact, I am the only jewelry consultant, retail jewelry consultant who's a jewelry retailer himself. So
Oh.
you would not find a combination of people who are coaching there in the industry
That's amazing.
and they're doing business on
You're
their own as
practicing
well.
your work,
Yeah.
your words.
So I it's like I am a living example. I walk my talk.
That's amazing. Enough beating around the bush and deep diving into the jewelry. आजकल है ना, मैं अपने फ्रेंड्स को देखता हूँ मिनिमलिस्टिक ज्वेलरी के ऊपर काफ़ी बातें चल रही है. बाइंग मिनिमलिस्टिक ज्वेलरी, दे डोंट वांट or they don't aspire to have a chunky piece for their wedding. It's definitely relative. But firstly, explain to the consumer कि minimalistic jewelry क्या चीज़ है and how is it shaping the future?
Well, minimalistic jewelry की जो concept है, that is about what you can wear in your daily usage. Like you can wear that jewelry and go to work. You can go to a ordinary like smaller party. You don't want to wear something which is heavy all the time. But keeping that aside, it is really picking up quite well ever since these lab grown diamonds have come into place as well. But ultimately, जब wedding होती है कुछ होता है, you need a bigger set as well. So
That is true.
what I have seen is the customers are buying both the type of jewelry. It's
Okay.
not just one thing. So they don't buy maybe bigger, heavier sets all the time. So they buy few for the occasions. And rest of the minimalistic jewelry you have to wear every day. You can't like move around without a jewelry. That's about the minimalistic. It says all about you, who you are
That's true.
with your jewelry without you saying anything.
That is true. The personalization trend, does it occur in minimalistic jewelry as well?
Yeah, it does. We do get clients who come and tell us this is how I want my maybe a Mangalsutra to be or a wedding ring to be, and those are very minimalistic designs what they come up. In fact, we've been doing customized rings as well with engravings and everything, and it runs quite well.
That's amazing. So, you're talking about Mangalsutra. I have been seeing a lot of evolution of Mangalsutra as from global brands as well. Um, Earlier, Mangalsutra was very simple, basic black and gold. How do you see women perceiving their Mangalsutra in future?
See, that is a good attire in the Indian culture. So I think people are going to keep wearing it all the time. In fact, we've been seeing a big change in it. Few brides, they even prefer wearing it on their wrist as well, as a
Okay,
bracelet,
okay.
right?
I think I
So
see some actress, I think Anant Ambani's wife.
yeah, you're
Anant Ambani is
absolutely right.
wearing in
Yeah,
the
she
hand.
was wearing that.
Definitely. And okay, moving towards from minimalistic to more corporate. That day I was reading the newspaper and I saw an ad. वो ad में क्या था ना, no making charge jewelry या 1% मेकिंग चार्ज ऑन ज्वेलरी बाय वन ऑफ द कॉर्पोरेट्स. ये काम कैसे करता है कंज्यूमर को समझाने के लिए?
देखिए, अगर आप 1% मेकिंग पे बेचेंगे, देन प्रॉब्ली यू वुड नॉट बी एबल टू इवन कम टू द ब्रेकडाउन ऑफ योर स्टोर्स,
यस.
राइट? कीपिंग अपार्ट द काइंड ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट्स जो उन्होंने ज्वेलरी के बिजनेस में ऑलरेडी करा हुआ है. सो प्रॉब्ली what वी हैव सीन इज, लाइक आई हैव बीन डूइंग लॉट ऑफ रिसर्च ऑन ऑल दीज थिंग्स. मैंने जो भी देखा है उसमें क्या करते हैं, अगर वो मेकिंग कम करते हैं तो जनरली दे इंक्रीज द गोल्ड प्राइसिंग.
ओह.
They keep little more margin on the gold rates.
ओह.
So that is a hidden margin what they charge you up there. And secondly, whatever non-moving stocks they have, जो designs obsolete हो गए हैं, they know that it's not selling from quite a long
stocks,
time.
yeah.
So instead of melting it, they just try and push it to the client because it's just a way of attracting new customers.
So it's not
The
realistic.
price, it's like attracting new price sensitive customers to your brand. Like you get sales at a clothing store and you get 50% discount on clothes. It's the same way.
गौरव, एक नॉर्थ ब्राइड को अपनी वेडिंग के लिए शॉपिंग करनी होगी तो उसको कितना पहले प्री प्लान करना चाहिए एंड हाउ मच टाइम शुड शी स्पेंड ऑन प्लानिंग द कस्टमाइजेशन फॉर अ वेडिंग?
So if you talk about the whole wedding, then I would say it's going to take at least 6 months because आज की डेट में what we have seen कि जो brides हैं उनको अपना लहंगा पसंद करने में भी 2 महीने लग जाते हैं because they are going from one designer to the other.
That's true.
And then it's got to do with the color and then it's got to do with the venue color scheme as well.
हाँ.
So there are lot many things that needs to be taken care of.
That is very
And
true.
then in the end comes the jewelry.
That is true.
So it should be at least, I would say at least 3 months time if they can keep, so that makes the best out of the box result for them.
So there is a lot of conversation regarding the bride, but groom के बारे में कोई बात ही नहीं करता है. And especially in North, grooms are evolving wearing amazing jewelry, wearing polki, broches, kalangis, wearing really good pieces of jewelry on their weddings. Someone as a groom who likes jewelry, तो एक ग्रूम को अपने शादी में कोई ज्वेलरी पहननी हो तो व्हाट आर सम पीसेस यू कैन सजेस्ट देम, 4-5 pieces फॉर द वेडिंग?
See, either you can wear a emerald necklace kind of a thing,
Okay.
right? कंठा जिसको बोलते हैं हम लोग, वो डाल सकते हैं. And then on the wedding day probably you can wear a kalgi or something else as well, or maybe a kundan a polki piece as a
Okay.
necklace like the Raja Maharajas used to wear, because certain people they like to wear that kind of jewelry as well. So it all depends the kind of taste that very particular groom likes.
That is true.
Yeah.
Talking about Maharajas, do you have any knowledge about the jewelry perspective playing a role in ancient India and North? Do you have any idea about how it was to take place? Who were the kings? How is it so rich in culture of jewelry for men?
So it's been there because that was the only way the Raja Maharajas could show off how wealthy they are. Like if you go back and see at the Nizam of Hyderabad, he was one of the biggest. Lover for jewelry.
Yes.
And like in fact, I got a chance to like do a consulting with one of the families who were the official jewelers to the Maharaja of Hyderabad as well. So I've been doing consulting with them lately. Yeah, so that was I that's how probably you just asked me, and I was sitting with him maybe 2 days. Yeah, on a Wednesday I was with him for almost 3-4 hours, and we had a long conversation about that.
तो ज्वेलरी कंसल्टेंट होता क्या है?
Jewelry consultant, देखिए, generally what you see, we generally look at any retail or any business as like an organized retail and an unorganized retail, right? So generally हमने दो ही retail सुने हैं, but actually moving down the line, जो unorganized है, they are not able to do much of the business. उनके हाथ से सारा business निकल गया है. So if I talk about making someone, a layman, understand, if you look at the electronics industry, retail industry down the line, 20 years down the line, तो 20 साल पहले क्या होता था, आपके हर लोकल एरिया के अंदर इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स के स्टोर्स होते थे, वेर यू कुड गो एंड बाय मे बी अ टीवी, अ फ्रिज और एन एयर कंडीशनर. और आज की डेट में अगर आप देखते हैं तो नो वन इज देयर ऑलरेडी, लाइक दे हैव ऑल गॉन.
Value migration is happening in the
Yes,
industry.
yes. So you see the big brands coming up in the electronics. So what we have seen, the transition in the electronics, we are going to see in the jewelry retail as well. So that is happening already. If you see, कि jewelry जो organized retail है, that has gone up, that has taken share from, in last 5 years, from 20% to almost
Yeah.
40%. So they have doubled.
That is very
And
true.
if you see, अगर उनके जो total stores हैं, retail stores in India in jewelry are around 3.5 lakh.
Yes.
So they have around 5% of the total stores in India for the organized retailers, corporates.
Making it simpler for our watchers. Let's make it very simple for our watchers.
Right.
How would you differentiate एक ऑर्गेनाइज्ड जूलर क्या होता है और एक अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड जूलर क्या होता है?
Organized, unorganized तो होगा जो सारा का सारा काम खुद ही कर रहे हैं. You have just 1 or 2 people sitting from the family itself and doing everything.
Okay.
They are raising the bills, they are handling the customers, they are doing all the sales thing, and everything is done by them. But if you move on from that to the organized retail, it is like you in organized also there are two kind of retailers.
Okay.
One is the corporates and the other is the family run organized retailers.
Okay.
So family run के अंदर भी there are different, like everyone is at a different level of retailing. So
That is true.
there are certain people who are already doing quite well in retailing. So जो लोग अच्छे तरीके से already काम कर रहे हैं, organized हैं और family run jewelry stores हैं, तो they are also organized retailers as well. It's just they are just family run jewelry stores. That is all.
I think that was a very big misconception you cleared, where people feel organized were only corporates.
So organized, और मतलब इसके अंदर आई वुड से ऑर्गेनाइज जिसका भी स्टोर ऑर्गेनाइज्ड है, एवरीथिंग इज ऑलरेडी सेट, यू हैव अ सिस्टम इन प्लेस फर्स्टली. सेकेंडली आपकी बायबैक पॉलिसी सारी की सारी प्री डिफाइंड है, यू हैव लिस्टेड देम, यू हैव शेयर्ड इट ओपनली विद द कस्टमर्स. एंड if you are selling like a 30-day money back guarantee, that is also there. Then you have everything which is hallmarked, which is also there, because all the jewelers as on date are at par.
Yeah.
You go to any brand, no one can sell without hallmarking today as on
That
date.
is very true.
Yeah.
And moving towards the trust factor, डायमंड सर्टिफिकेशन कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है और कौन से लैब्स की सर्टिफिकेशन को देखना चाहिए?
देखिए, जो डायमंड का सर्टिफिकेट है उसको देखना तो आज की डेट में बहुत ही ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है. इनफैक्ट I still remember I read an article in Economic Times long back, probably in 2014-15, and ever since we have not sold even a single piece of jewelry of diamond jewelry at our store without certification, because मेरे को तो ऐसा फील हुआ कि अगर हमारे को तो देख के पता भी नहीं लगेगा कि नेचुरल है कि लैब ग्रोन है, we would never get to know. And there's like just equipments which is available, और उस टाइम पे तो equipments भी काफ़ी expensive थे, we didn't had that much money to buy it on, और टेक्नोलॉजी इतनी जल्दी इवॉल्व होती है, तो हमने तो इसलिए सारी की सारी ज्वेलरी विद सर्टिफिकेशन ही बेची कि कभी गलती से भी ऐसा ना हो जाए कि हमारी रेपुटेशन हैम्पर हो जाए उसकी वजह से.
That is true.
And I'm like, no one would ever do it intentionally, I would say, but कभी कुछ हो भी सकता है, you never know.
That is true.
The way the technology is improving, so it gets really difficult.
And what
अगर एक ज्वेलर को ही नहीं पता लगता तो कंज्यूमर को, कस्टमर को कैसे पता लगेगा? So generally we just suggest our customers to buy whatever they buy, it should be certified, and it should be at least certified from the international labs, not from the local labs, because in local labs के अंदर there can be substandards, so anything can happen. So you could be duped.
International labs such as
Maybe JIA, IGI. So if you're buying jewelry, JIA is not doing jewelry as much, but IGI they do certification for jewelry, which is quite well, and we've been doing everything. In fact, हम लोग नेचुरल डायमंड की ज्वेलरी भी विद सर्टिफिकेट ही बेचते हैं और लैब ग्रोन डायमंड की विद सर्टिफिकेट ही बेचते हैं.
That's amazing. Moving towards gemstones. Gemstones are a big part of the jewelry industry. A bride wanting to buy, or let's say anyone, अगर किसको gemstones खरीदने हैं अपने jewelry में, how can they assess the quality in that and the value in it?
See, to ascertain the quality and the value is going to be a little difficult for an ordinary layman to see that. But what I would suggest is it is always better to go for gemstones which are certified.
Okay.
So you can get certification of the gemstones. उससे आपको आइडेंटिफाई तो हो जाएगा कि वो नेचुरल है कि नहीं है. प्रॉब्ली दे कैन यू कैन इवन गेट टू नो व्हाट माइन इट इज. So you can control it to a decent extent, but not to the fullest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Moving towards, आप मुझे एक चीज़ बता रहे थे behind the podcast. ये ज्वेलरी में लाइट परफॉर्मेंस रिपोर्ट क्या होती है?
Light performance होती है. See, all the diamonds what we see, वो एक लाइट को रिफ्लेक्ट करते हैं.
Yes.
Right. So that reflection that depends on the cut. Generally, what we as jewelers, most of the jewelers and customers talk about is certification, and you have 3 X's like the cut, polish, and symmetry is excellent. So that means that's a good, excellent product, and you're buying a good piece of diamond.
Okay.
It doesn't work that way. If you see these big brands of the world, what we do, they use a certain kind of cuts as well. Apart from the 3 C's, there are different parameters to it, which is called the light performance report. And in fact,
Okay.
for our other brand, where we do lab grown diamonds, the Iris Fine Jewels. So we sell finest lab grown diamonds, and when we say finest lab grown diamonds, they come with a light performance report.
Okay. With the
Yes.
certification as well.
Yeah, it's got the certification, and then there is an additional certification on it on top, which tells you what is the performance of light that this very particular diamond is going to throw back.
Okay.
So it's all about the shine,
Shine,
nothing
yes.
else. So diamond is all about shine. If your diamond doesn't shine as much as it should, then you just killing your money.
That is true. So moving on from all the questions, I'm going to play a game with you.
Oh,
The game is called Rapid Fire. I will be dropping you some rapid fire questions. You have to answer in a millisecond. You can't think
Okay.
about it.
right.
Okay, we start with silver, jewelry or investment,
Investment.
ready-made or customized engagement ring,
Ready-made or customized, both would work. But like when you talk about engagement ring, it's mostly customized.
okay, opened or closed pole key,
Open.
personally, blue sapphire or tanzanite.
Tanzanite.
That's amazing. That was a lovely session of rapid fire. And going ahead, actually, I always also wanted to do another game if you're down for it.
Yeah, I would be taking.
So
it
there's
on.
this game called
Please go ahead.
Invest or Not.
Invest.
I will be giving you certain commodities or articles. You have to say if they are investment worthy or not.
Okay.
Let's start with silver,
Invest.
gold ETFs,
Invest.
Birkin bags,
Invest.
Rolex,
Invest.
lab grown diamonds.
Lab grown would not be an investment. It's just like it's not for investment person, but you can still buy. It's just for you to save money and have the same feel what you want.
Definitely. Platinum.
Invest.
Okay. And the last one, I don't know if you know about this. It's quite famous between women. Christian Louis Vuitton shoes.
Invest. You can't get away with that.
That's amazing. So moving again to the conversation, I have a very controversial question for you. Are natural diamonds going to sustain a mist of lab-grown diamonds or the diamond scenario?
See, both the lab grown diamonds and natural diamonds both are going to be there in the market. Whoever is buying a lab grown diamond as on date would be only because of 2 reasons. One, they don't want to spend as much money
Yes.
on diamonds all the time,
Hmm.
or the other would be they don't have that much money as on date.
Okay.
So the people who are buying jewelry because they don't have as much money as on date, actually they are inspired to buy a natural diamond.
It's potential
Yeah,
buyer.
so
Yeah.
they are a potential buyer. So I look at it, probably if 100 people are buying a lab grown diamond, out of those 100, 10 would like translate to the natural diamond over a period of time, maybe
That's
next
true.
5, 7, 10
That is
years. So
true.
that's it's not going to stop.
That
Everything
is
is
true.
going to grow on its own.
That is true.
Yeah.
And travel jewelry is something which I've been very curious about. Can you explain to the people what a travel jewelry is and a best practice for the travel jewelry?
See, travel jewelry, when we talk about, it's got to do with lab grown diamonds, in fact, in the first place.
Okay, why is that?
Mostly, yeah, because when you're traveling, you don't want to take like heavy jewelry with you all the time. That's
Which
that's
can be
like
very
risky,
costly.
yeah. And moreover, when you're traveling, it's got to do with customs and all those things as well.
Hmm.
So you need to, like that at times gets a little tricky.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's good to buy a lab grown diamond and probably take it if you're going out for a vacation or something. You would not like to wear a solitaire of maybe 3 carats or 4 carat
that is true.
and go abroad and just
That is true.
just leave it there in your rooms by
Hotel rooms,
mistake.
yeah. I'm pretty sure it's going to be heartbreaking,
Yeah.
devastating. But yeah, travel jewelry has been a concept which I'm trying to put my mind around. I heard a lady, okay, she had a amazing around, let's say, 80 lakh worth piece diamond piece, natural diamond piece. And she had to travel for a wedding to Bali, and but she could not take that piece definitely because of the custom issues and jewelry valuation and no assurance. She ended up making the same piece in lab grown and taking it for the wedding. Still trying to understand the logic behind it and how, like how it plays a role. But I think that still did put a point of view
Yeah,
where
that's the same case actually.
safeguarding.
Yeah, it's just safeguarding yourself, and you don't want to wear something because when you have a piece of jewelry, you love it,
That,
so you don't want to like part away with it in the first place,
that is
and you
true.
want to wear that very jewelry if you're going to a party in Bali for a wedding.
Mhm.
So she might have thought
Maybe,
of
yeah,
getting the same thing in a lab grown diamond.
that's
That's we,
true.
we do get clients as well
Okay.
on the same, and they come up and tell us, okay, this is what, if you can do that for me in a lab grown, so we do that on a customization for them.
That's amazing. Uh, since you're a jewelry consultant, uh, top three tip for a youngster getting into the jewelry business.
See, getting into jewelry business would be like, for a youngster would be, I would say, start small, fail fast, and scale fast.
Wow, that's
So
amazing.
that's the best thing to do. Then you don't lose like too much of your money in the initial space, and that keeps you moving on.
That is true. That is actually a good one. Failing is really the learning process.
Yeah, because lot of time, what I see, people, they don't like to fail, but that's a part of the game.
That is very
You
true.
need to be ready to fail first.
That is very
Then
true.
only you're gonna win the game.
That is actually very true. And moving towards, actually, I was going through these corporate reports where they had Malabar Jewelers and Kalyan Jewelers, and they had so many words such as FIFO, FOFO, COCO, and Kiko. I was so confused that what is going on. But two words which I remember was FOFO and COCO. So FOFO मॉडल में और कोको मॉडल में क्या डिफरेंस होता है इन ज्वेलरी?
So FOFO is franchisee owned and franchisee operated. So wherein the franchisee, he's put in all the money and he's doing all the operations for the store as well.
Okay.
So when you have a COCO, it is like a brand opening their own store with their own money, company owned and company operated.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are the two models that run easily. And initially, wherever when you see any business, mostly it is COCO at the initial stages, and then it translates to FOFO, and from there at times it translates to FOCO as well, franchisee owned and company operated as well.
Okay. And then it moves towards coco. No, is that
No, 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 no. The generally three what works.
okay. जो कंज्यूमर्स होते हैं ना, ज्वेलरी कंज्यूमर को ज्वेलरी खरीदना नहीं आता. Why am I saying that? Because जो भी उनको खरीदना है, that is just being fed on the Instagram or the internet. How can someone make jewelry more personal to them? Some few tips.
See, it all depends. Whenever you're seeing jewelry, like when you say it's been fed to them, it's not fed. They are attracting something. They already have a perceived image of jewelry, what they would like initially. See, every soul, every human being is different. So that's why we have to create so many designs.
That is true.
Yeah, so it all depends who is looking at it. Like you say, the beauty lies in the eyes of the observer. It works the same way. So you're fed up. You're like fed so many things every day on Instagram, Reels, and Facebook, and all that. But your eye catches what you like. It's not that you're not stopping everywhere.
That is true. So ending this session on gold, I wanted to know कि दुनिया का सारा सोना, would say, who holds the gold of the globe in a hierarchy if possible?
So I don't think I would have an answer to that because I don't remember. But what I like vaguely remember it is IMF International Monetary Fund. They hold the largest.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I remember vaguely. So I
Okay.
might not be correct on it. So we need to cross check that.
So is there something jewelry consumers can do, or I would say a common mistake by a jewelry consumer before they enter the store or after coming to the store? A common mistake.
So common mistake. What I generally say is people are just going with the trust. So you should enter with the trust, but with you should कीप योर आइज ओपन इन द फर्स्ट प्लेस.
Okay.
आपको बिल साथ में लेना चाहिए. जो भी ज्वेलरी आप खरीदते हैं, अगर आप गुड ज्वेलरी खरीद रहे हैं उसके ऊपर हॉल मार्किंग को वेरीफाई कीजिए. BAS ने तो इतनी अच्छी ऐप बनाई है, यू कैन जस्ट वेरीफाई एवरीथिंग वट एवर यू आर बाइंग. एंड देन इफ़ यू आर बाइंग डायमंड ज्वेलरी यू शुड वेरीफाई दैट एज वेल इंस्टेड. इनफैक्ट अगर आप लैब डायमंड्स खरीदते हैं या कोई भी सॉलिटेयर खरीदते हैं इनफैक्ट, सो देर इज इंस्क्रिप्शन ऑन द गर्डल, सो यू कैन वेरीफाई दैट एज वेल विद अ माइक्रोस्कोप. So आज की डेट में तो इतनी अच्छी टेक्नोलॉजी.
That's how you can be a smart buyer.
एंड इवन इफ यू आर बाइंग डायमंड ज्वेलरी तो उसके ऊपर भी लाइक जैसे हॉल मार्किंग ज्वेलरी के ऊपर होता है, वैसे ही डायमंड ज्वेलरी के ऊपर भी इंस्क्रिप्शन होता है IJ के सर्टिफिकेट नंबर का.
Okay.
सो इट इज ऑलवेज बेटर टू वेरीफाई एंड क्रॉस चेक ऑन द IJ पोर्टल एज वेल. वहाँ पे भी आप ऑनलाइन चेक कर सकते हैं.
Okay.
सो इफ यू लाइक टेक केयर वाइल यू आर बाइंग यू आर पेइंग, बिकॉज जनरली क्या होता है कि अगर आप किसी को 500 का नोट भी देखते हैं फटा होता है तो वो तो वापस कर देते लोग कि ये फटा हुआ वापस ले लो.
That is true.
बट व्हेन यू आर बाइंग ज्वेलरी वर्थ lakhs, so why don't people pay attention to it? That is very surprising for me at times.
I'm sorry, I know I was about to end, but I have another question. Personalized engagement ring का इतना craze क्यों है?
वो देना ही इतने स्पेशल को होता है तो इसलिए तो पर्सनलाइज तो होना ही चाहिए. एंड यू लाइक थिंकिंग द पर्सन हु हैज़ टू गेट द एंगेजमेंट रिंग मेड, उसको इतनी सारी इमोशन होती हैं, उसको सारे को कॉन्सेप्चुलाइज करके एक रिंग के अंदर डालना है तो इतना टाइम क्यों नहीं लगाएंगे.
That is true. That is really true.
I did the same when I got married.
Okay.
So maybe I've been able to answer it the best, I guess.
That's great. This is for all the grooms to be.
Yeah.
You can look for. Following up, अगर कोई groom अपनी wife के लिए engagement ring बनाना चाहता है, and women specifically he would want to gift her, so how can a groom make a buying process for a engagement ring easier for himself,
For the
for
groom.
for his wife? अगर
Okay.
एक ग्रूम शादी के पहले जो रिंग खरीदता है एंगेजमेंट रिंग, वो प्रोसेस वो इजी कैसे कर सकता है?
वो तो देखिए पहले तो यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि व्हाट गोल्ड कलर शी वुड प्रेफर, व्हाट शेप शी वुड प्रेफर, what kind of a style she would prefer, and then only you can do. In fact, we generally tell them it is better to bring your fiance along
Okay.
because she's the one who's going to be wearing it all the time.
That is true.
आपने अपने दिल से तो बना दिया, but if it is a combination, it is like you're getting into a wedlock. So it has to be a collaborative thing.
That is true.
That works the best.
एंड फिनिशिंग अप, जो फ्यूचर ब्राइड्स है, क्या वो मिनिमलिस्टिक ज्वेलरी पसंद करेंगी और दे गोना स्टिक टू द ओल्ड इंडियन रूट्स एंड हैव हैवी ज्वेलरी?
See, it is going to be always a combination because the culture what we have in India, उसके अंदर weddings तो मतलब it is exorbitantly
एक्स्ट्रा बैगेज।
या extravagant होते हैं. So उसके अंदर wedding के टाइम पे तो आपको उस दिन तो डालना ही पड़ेगा. Even if the bride she doesn't like it, the parents they tell
द
her
कल्चर।
yeah that कि भाई ये तो डालना पड़ेगा, उस दिन तो डालना है आपको, अलग से और जो लेना है वो और ले लो.
दैट्स
So
अमेजिंग।
even what I have seen के जो brides हैं उनको भी अच्छा ही लगता है because they also like to wear
It's a special day,
yeah, it's a
obviously.
special day, it's a once in a lifetime thing, so no one likes to be like without that bulky jewelry as well.
I'm sorry for sponging you so much.
No, that's absolutely
That was a
fine. In fact,
lovely conversation. I want to ask you another question.
please go ahead.
बॉलीवुड और हॉलीवुड एक कितना बड़ा रोल प्ले करता है ज्वेलरी इंडस्ट्री के लिए, एंड कैसे?
So it's like Bollywood and Hollywood, जैसे आप अभी बात कर रहे थे थोड़ी देर पहले कि the jewelry has been fed on Instagram reels and all that, so they are also doing the same thing.
ओके।
So in fact, whatever new trends are going to come up, they are generally shown up in the Hollywood and Bollywood movies, so that जब लोग उसको जाके व्यू करेंगे मूवी को देखेंगे, so they get that perception that this is what is the latest thing.
दैट्स अमेजिंग।
Yeah, so that's how things are done, and it's designed in a way, I would say.
ओके।
Yeah.
I think that was a lovely conversation with Mr. Gaurav. He gave me a spectrum of knowledge of different and various gemstones, diamond, lab growns, brides, grooms. We covered a hell lot of topics. And thank you so much for this podcast. Thank you so much for your time. And it was lovely shooting with you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so
It
much.
was really for having me here. Thank you very much for your time as well.
Thank you.
Really appreciate that.